Estrogen dominance, just those two words, so many conventional doctors dismiss it, don't believe it exists, and are quick to kind of poo-poo the idea. I know because I've been in practice for over 14 years in my integrative practice at Center Spring MD, and this is a topic that we deal with over and over again almost every single day. Now, one of the things that we try to do is help our patients understand, do they or do they not have estrogen dominance? Where might it be coming from? And what they can do about it. Now, if you're confused about the language and the terminology, check out my video on what is estrogen dominance. And don't forget, I have tons of videos talking about natural ways to treat estrogen dominance, which in a nutshell is when our body will hold and store estrogen, not break it down effectively, and lead to all kinds of signs and symptoms that make us feel miserable. And I certainly don't want that for you. But now I'm going to tackle a different element of it, and we're really going to pull the East and the West and the entire body together, which is what I love doing. I call it merging medicine, East-West medicine, but this is where we get answers. Now, did you know that your thoughts and your emotions can trigger estrogen dominance? That's right, guys. It's not just all blood levels and labs and chemistry. Actually, different aspects of our bodies, of our health, impact what our hormones are doing. Now, hang with me for just a minute. I know I'm going a little bit out into left field, but I promise it will all make sense. The body is actually comprised of multiple layers. We all know we've got this very obvious physical body, right? You can touch it, you can feel it, you know what's going on with it. But then we also have a mental body that's processing thoughts over and over again. We have an emotional body that feels things, anger, stress, frustration, happiness, joy, you name it. And we have a spiritual body and an energetic body, but all of them coordinate. It's almost like an accordion or some sort of figure that sort of all interrelate and coordinate and communicate with each other. This is an emerging area of medicine where if we can latch on to how this communication is happening, we can actually solve what is considered unsolvable, uncurable, unhealable. This is how we know this exists. Eastern systems of medicine talked about the link between your emotions, your body, and what they were seeing in terms of clinical symptoms. If you don't believe me, I actually brought some tools to show you. This particular machine is called the BioWell machine. It does an energetic reading of the entire body. We use this, and we actually use some other software at Center Spring MD to get this information. But this information is fascinating, and I'm going to show you. This is what the front page of the report looks like. This is a BioWell personalized energetic report. It's picking up our frequency, our energy, and able to match it to a meridian. Another word, meridians are pathways of energy that are running through the body. So for example, if you can see this picture here, we have the heart meridian that runs right along down the side of the arm. So you may have heart pain, right? Or you may just have arm pain, but the explanation of what's going on with that meridian, the heart is the ruler of all emotions. Imbalances include sadness, absence of laughter, depression, fear, anxiety. And when they're balanced, you're tranquil. But the organ system is the cardiovascular system. So where am I going with this? This is where I'm going. Our emotions are stored in our body. As they're stored in the body, they trap energy. And as they trap energy, they create disease. So that's why in the Eastern model of medicine, every emotion is tied to an organ, is tied now to a lab value, and is now, I'm saying, tied to a hormone imbalance. So what does that mean if we're talking estrogen dominance? Here's the biggest pattern with estrogen dominance. Estrogen dominance, remember, is mediated by the liver. The number one emotion that triggers estrogen dominance, who can guess it? I hear lots of guesses out there. It's actually anger. So anger is the biggest trigger for estrogen dominance. Here's why. Chinese medicine, Ayurvedic medicine, homeopathy, all these Eastern systems of medicine talked about how we store an emotion like anger. You guessed it, in the liver. And when it stayed in the liver became soggy, baggy, couldn't do the work it needs to do. Think about it. When you're upset, can you do your job? No. So when the liver is kind of burdened by all this emotion, all this negative emotion, anger, frustration, and the like, it can't do its job, leading to a buildup of estrogen, leading to estrogen dominance. The second emotion that can trigger estrogen dominance is grief. And here's why. Grief lives in the lungs, according to Chinese medicine. The lungs are very important for detoxification. So if the lungs got bothered, weighed down, full of grief, then detoxification could not happen. The liver would have to work extra hard to make up for what the lungs were doing, and that in turn would lead to disease. This is why so many times in practice, I will sit with my patients on their journey, and they will tell me that they've lost a loved one or that they've gone through a divorce. And sure enough, 18 months later, we'll see signs and symptoms of estrogen dominance and all the different things that estrogen dominance will bring. So all of this is connected. Our thoughts, our emotions are connected to our organs and to our hormones. So if we're really going to talk about how to heal estrogen dominance naturally, we have to talk about releasing negative emotions. So if you are walking around with anger, it's time to let it go. And if you are suffering from deep grief or deep trauma, please get the help you need. Whether it's hypnosis, grief counseling, sitting with a counselor or therapist, or doing energy work, all of these modalities are absolutely helpful, fascinating, and can move the needle to really relieve the wounds at different levels of the body. So grief, for example, is going to hit that spiritual body, right? That energetic body. As that hit goes away, the body can relax. Cortisol levels can come down. The liver can do what it needs to do, and you in turn can see balanced hormones. So again, the body, so connected, so intertwined, all systems talking and communicating to each other. The future of medicine is understanding this. It's being able to measure it and being able to do something about it and educate you so that you can jump on it before it turns into a disease, because that's when sometimes it's just too much, too little, too late, and it's hard to turn the whole thing around. All right, I know this one was a little bit more off the cuff than what we normally do, but remember, the Meridian system's real, the energy body is real, the spiritual body is real. We get answers when we merge Eastern and Western medicine. A one-size-fits-all approach simply doesn't work, leads to gaslighting, and so many other issues for all of us. So hopefully that makes sense. Feel free to leave your comments below and ask me questions if you're a little bit confused. But if you have a story of maybe suffering through grief and anger and then seeing kind of the medical consequences of that, please share it with me. And I would love for you to come on camera and even tell your story. Now remember, I post new videos every week. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and we'll talk soon.